Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
Today Around Kansas starts with stories about the early years of the Jayhawk Theater. Then learn how Fort Wallace played an important part in the Indian Wars. Next, see why the Belle Villa restaurant should be on your list of places to eat in Kansas, and how Zebulon Pike became part of Kansas history when he explored the Louisiana Purchase. We'll end with a poem from Jeff Dawson. Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, Progress, powered by Kansas Farmers. Around Kansas, brought to you by Tarwater Farm and Home. Come on by, we'll treat you like family.
Welcome to Around Kansas from the lovely restored Kansas State House. The house that belongs to the people, and there's no doubt when you come and see it how incredible this renovation is, so be sure and come. We came over here today so we could talk about Governor Mike Hayden. Mike was the 41st governor of the state, and of course he was a farm boy from Atwood, Kansas, way out in the west. And one of my favorite stories about Mike is came from one of his cabinet members, Shelby Smith. And Shelby happened to be skiing in Colorado during that administration. And a guy standing in line next to him said, "Oh, I knew your governor back in Vietnam." And of course it's widely known that Mike is a veteran of the Vietnam conflict. So they started chatting, and the man told Shelby, he said, "You know, when we were in Vietnam," he said, "there was a lot of pressure to lie about the numbers of kills that they had." And that's one thing Mike Hayden would never do. He was a commander in Vietnam, and he would never lie. And when Mike was asked about his legacy as governor, one of the things that he said he wanted to be remembered for was being an honest man. And he said himself that he brought a very strong personality to the office of governor, that he had been in leadership roles before, including his military service and in the legislature before that, and he brought a very strong, very businesslike personality to the governorship, and it was like, you know, this is our job, let's get it done. That was, not always received the best, and Mike was defeated for re-election, but he remained in public service. He was actually in public service for 18 years. And Bill Graves, of course, during his administration, appointed Mike to head Wildlife and Parks, and Kathleen Sebelius, as governor, reappointed him to that position. So he was there until 2011, and then he went to work for the feds, and the Department of Fish and Game. So Mike's whole life, starting out there in the countryside of Atwood, has been about being outdoors and serving the people of Kansas. Now, if you know Mike, or if you've met Mike, you realize that Mike has a very distinctive and pretty loud voice. And one of his own favorite quotes about that voice, he said that, people used to tell him that he should probably take voice lessons and he should try to do something about his voice, but he was always about being yourself. He said, if anybody says anything about me, it's got to be that I'm genuine. So his voice was never one thing that he tried to change. And he recalled that one of his former colleagues, it was a Democrat from Osage County, Irving Niles, commented, "Speaker Hayden's voice has been known to sterilize cockleburr seeds to a depth of 3 inches in dry soil." Really distinctive part of a very distinctive man. We're proud to call him one of our governors. We'll be right back.
This hog is head over hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
No matter where, no matter why, The Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
When your living depends on agriculture, you can depend on KFRM 550 AM. If you're in the southwest three-fourths of Kansas or the northern half of Oklahoma, catch us at 550 AM on the radio dial. But if that isn't you, listen on your cell phone at TuneIn Radio or on your computer at KFRM.com. We promise to keep you informed, entertained, and company as you go through your day. KFRM 550 AM, the voice of the plains. We would like to join your management team.
Turn to a Central National Bank Ag Professional. You'll be in good company. They'll help you track expense lines, manage variable input costs, assess ground agreements, pick a crop protection plan. These times demand Ag Professionals. Central National Bank. You could profit from what they know. Ag operations run better on Central Time.
Central National Bank, money for life.
Member FDIC in your hometown since 1884.
This segment is brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, just a short drive down the Yellow Brick Road. Good morning, I'm Frank Chafin, and this is Around Kansas. It echoes a little bit today because we're in the historic Jayhawk Theater in Topeka, Kansas. This theater was built in 1926 by E.H. Crosby, who had a department store. In fact, behind that wall right there was the Crosby Brothers department store. This was a magnificent theater then in 1926. It survived for several decades before, of course, it unfortunately closed several years ago. It is in the process of restoration, as you can probably see, because there are no seats in here. But anyway, the theater, I'm going to read from their brochure here. E.H. Crosby of Crosby Brothers Company opened the Jayhawk Theater. The construction cost, now remember, this was 1926, $750,000 to $1 million. Gonna let that sink in. I mean, this is a magnificent place, and you're gonna get to see some of it, and it really needs to be restored. Historically, yes, it was part of the time when there were traveling companies that traveled all over Kansas. That was the form of entertainment at the time. And let me tell you some of the people that trod the boards here at this wonderful Jayhawk Theater. Rose Hovick, who became Gypsy Rose Lee. If you are familiar with the Broadway show and the movie, you know, Rose left the family. She left the family at this theater. This is where she left and became Gypsy Rose Lee. George Burns played here. He had a story that there was no room to cross back stage, so they had to go out the back door over here and around the alley and then back through the Jayhawk walkway. And of course, people would recognize him and want to talk to him, and he'd say, "Excuse me, but I have to be on stage." Also, Marilyn May played here, Lon Chaney. Bob Hope sang "Thanks for the Memory" on this stage. The Three Stooges, Abbott and Costello, Lucille Ball, Jack Benny, Judy Garland. And those are only a few of the people that actually played in this wonderful, wonderful theater during the days of vaudeville. So anyway, you can come and see this theater if you want. There are many activities that are planned to help renovate this wonderful theater called the Jayhawk Theater. It's in Topeka, Kansas, just off of 8th and Jackson. They also have an art gallery, and of course, if you really talk to them nice, they might come show you this theater. For now, I'm Frank Chafin, and I'll see you somewhere around Kansas.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan from Doc Talk. If you miss us on Monday morning, you can join us at 6:30 a.m. every Sunday morning on RFD TV. Doc Talk has a national following. We're sure glad that you joined us on Mondays, but if you miss us and you want to catch us out on a Sunday morning, get up at 6:30 a.m. and we'll be right there, RFD TV, 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, and I'll see you down the road.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
American innovation is being driven in places you might not expect by people like Brent Hayek, an Oklahoma family farmer, who recently set a world land speed record in a Ford Super Duty pickup truck powered by renewable B20 biodiesel. Advanced performance is here, now, putting America on the fast track to more jobs and energy independence. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Around Kansas, brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Around Kansas. You know, when my friend Michelle Martin and I started working on our book, Kansas Forts and Bases, we just went through a list of all that we could think of off the top of our heads, and we started checking off the ones that we wanted to write about. Well, the one that we had a big fight over was Fort Wallace, out in Wallace County. And if you've never been out to Fort Wallace, they have a tremendous museum. There's a little town of Wallace right next to it. The town of Sharon Springs is not far away, and they have hotel facilities there, lots of great places to eat close by. But of course, this is not too far from the Colorado line. So it's way, way out there, but it is well worth the trip if you don't live close by to head out to Wallace. Now, Wallace is one of those forts that was so heavily involved in the Indian Wars. Of course, as soon as we get finished with the American Civil War, we're fighting Native Americans here in Kansas. So that is really heating up in the 1860s, rather, in that neck of the woods. Now, the railroad had not gone through at this point, 1865. So there is the Butterfield Overland Dispatch, which is basically the stagecoach route that was headed to Denver, and it went through that area. So you've got just a little stagecoach station there. So Fort Wallace was ordered to be built by General Sherman in 1865, and by 1866 they have a fort there. Now, like a lot of those western forts, it didn't have palisades or anything around it. Honestly, it was just a collection of tents and dugouts, and that's the way it opened. They gradually had some more substantial buildings there. But in June of 1867, there's a really important fight there. Albert Barnett of the 7th Cavalry is the commander when they meet the Cheyenne, and it is a fearsome fight, 3 hours long. He lost about 7 men in this battle out of close to 200, but those numbers do not reflect the intensity of this battle. And when you look out at the landscape, I've had the good fortune to walk that landscape a couple of times with Cecil Pierce out there and to visit with folks out at the museum. It's deceptively flat. You know, there are rises and just places that form the high ground you wouldn't expect. And it's really difficult to imagine how that very calm, quiet, except for the wind, place could have been the site of such an incredible battle. But it was really intense, and there happened to be a photographer there that day. So he took photographs of the aftermath of the battle, including the mutilation of a couple of soldiers. That made news all over the country. Most important thing, though, for the first time, the American Army realized what a formidable foe the Native Americans there would be. Where before they had boasted that I can take one trooper and I can whip 10 or 20 or 50 Indians, that day they said 1 equals 1 if we are even equal to their 1. It was a ferocious fight, and just one more nugget of history that is well preserved there at Fort Wallace. Go see them and tell them Around Kansas sent you. We'll be right back.
From the Land of Kansas is a trademark program that helps Kansas businesses grow, produce, process, or manufacture Kansas products. Let's meet Bellvilla Family Dining Restaurant. For great food and legendary hospitality, plan a trip to Belleville, Kansas. Bellvilla is located at the intersection of Highways 36 and 81. Offering a full menu at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Bellvilla is best known for their mouth-watering steaks. The lunch and dinner menu also includes salads, sandwiches, burgers, and seafood. And don't forget the full breakfast menu too. Their customers say it all. I've stopped here several times and enjoyed it every time. And unbelievably perfect. Best service and steak in 20 years of eating all over the country. Make your next meal special at Bellvilla Family Dining Restaurant in Belleville, Kansas.
Tar Waters has what you need for all seasons for around the farm and home. Working, hunting, growing, feeding, snow removal, even fun for the kids. And a service department with experienced techs to help keep your equipment in top running condition. Tar Waters has a huge selection and the best prices. Tar Water Farm and Home, family owned and operated since 1978. They have what you need.
In the springtime, cattlemen need to be thinking of preventing important diseases like pink eye. Pink eye prevention includes management factors like good fly control, pasture management, along with a good vaccination program. Eyesight from AgriLabs has broad efficacy coverage as its origin from 8 different field isolates of Moraxella bovis. It is safe, smooth, highly syringeable, safe with young calves and pregnant cows, and provides superior protection against pink eye.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
Around Kansas, brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook, or visit us online at sftmeats.com.
You know, when you look around Kansas, you don't see many mountains these days, but once upon a time we had mountains and plenty of them. You know, when the United States bought the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, the area that would become Kansas was carved out of that Louisiana Purchase. Now, everybody's heard about Lewis and Clark, you know, the celebration a couple of years ago marking the bicentennial of their trip was huge news around the world. Lesser known was the expedition of Zebulon Pike, and he was sent to explore the southern part of that Louisiana Purchase land. So just cut a swath right through what would become Kansas. And he is the man for whom Pikes Peak is named. Now, Zebulon Pike never climbed that mountain that was named for him. He wanted to, but the snows were setting in and he decided that it was just not safe enough to do that. And if you've ever visited the Rockies, you know that Pikes Peak is not the highest. It's, you know, there are a whole lot of things that it's not. But because it's on the southern edge and it's one of those big monuments that announces you're here, that you've arrived in Colorado and you've arrived at the Rockies, it's become such a piece of American history and such a landmark, and once a big piece of the Kansas Territory. Now, there are trails all along throughout Kansas that have markers, you know, that Zebulon Pike was here. really nice one that my friend Rod Beamer took me out to one day in Cloud County, I believe we were. It's a gorgeous marker that the local historical society put up to Zebulon Pike's trek. Now the thing about his trek that made it a little lesser known, there weren't as many surprises. There's actually a lot that was known about that piece of the Louisiana Purchase. And the trade with Santa Fe, for example, trade with Santa Fe had been going on with the Indians and that part of what would become Kansas for decades. And there was just a lot that was known. He was sent to scout out the Arkansas River, or the Arkansas River as it became when it came into the state line here. So he scouted those things. He eventually wound up as a prisoner of war. The Spanish arrest him because they think he's a spy. And remember, down around Santa Fe, that's all still Spanish. We didn't get that in the Louisiana Purchase. So when he crosses over into what is a territory of Spain, he gets arrested. He's actually held in prison for a while. He gets out though, he makes it, he leaves an incredible journal. If you ever get a chance to read the Journal of Zebulon Pike, it's a really wonderful piece of work. He's a beautiful young man, originally from New Jersey, career military family. He winds up dying during the War of 1812. He's actually killed in action in the War of 1812. So he's just one of those lesser known figures that left a tremendous imprint. Who doesn't know Pikes Peak? And he's one that you should find out about.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
When your living depends on agriculture, you can depend on KFRM 550 AM. If you're in the southwest three-fourths of Kansas or the northern half of Oklahoma, catch us at 550 AM on the radio dial. But if that isn't you, listen on your cell phone at TuneIn Radio or on your computer at KFRM.com. We promise to keep you informed, entertained, and company as you go through your day. KFRM 550 AM, the voice of the plains. We would like to join your management team.
This is the fast track to more jobs and America's energy independence. Advanced performance is here now. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Around Kansas, brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Hi folks, I'm Jeff Dawson, ranch cowboy and cowboy entertainer. One thing I learned for sure, growing up on the plain, is what my daddy told me, son, don't ever cuss the rain. For the rain cleans the air and fills the ponds to drink, and the trees and grass will grow so fast you'll miss it if you blink. One thing I learned for sure growing up here on the plain is what my daddy told me, son, don't ever cuss the rain. Oh, I know that you'll be calving and working in the muck, and you'll lose a calf and cuss yourself and say that's just my luck. Well, one thing I learned for sure growing up here on the plain is what my daddy told me, son, don't ever cuss the rain. Oh, I know 1951 or even 93 will make you fear the water and the lowland's destiny. But if you lived through the 30s and the dust sifted through your window pane, it'll bring you back to what my daddy said, son, don't ever cuss the rain. Thank you, folks.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission, The Soybean Checkoff, Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome to Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best part of Dorothy's dream. We're the best part of Dorothy's